going to move on to the second part right now. Okay, so usually these days, it's different from many years ago where there was this rote learning. Students came to class and they just listened, and when the teachers told them to write something in their book, they write it, it's gone. These days, students want to understand beyond what you're presenting. They want to actually challenge those facts. Are they valid? Are they outdated? Have they been updated? So this is where we have the concept of metacognition, and that's where we say learn. We learn a concept, we unlearn, we question those concepts, and we relearn. We add further information that we discover. So that is metacognition concept, because what we want to do is, we are now in the 21st century where we no longer accept everything hook, line, and sinker, because all students have access to the ChatGPT. Don't use internet. You can't stop them. They have this access, and even if you stop them, they're still going to access it. But the key is how to integrate it and embrace it, yet without being reliant on it. So that's the question here. They can look for information, but then they need to actually get original. They can take the key facts or key points, but then they need to actually design it in a way that it reflects it from them, right? Not just a copy and paste. So here it is. So if you have lesson presentation and methodology, so you create activities, you create some group work for them. It can be a video, it can be some presentations, it can be some group hands-on, it can be some one-on-one hands-on activities. So I've actually extracted some material from Active Science, which I think is very interesting. It's really fun. It is actually quite similar to our top science previously, but there is an upgrade, because the good thing about, I mentioned two areas where you synthesize and you analyze. So you synthesize what they've learned. That's also part of the critical thinking step. And you also analyze. They're able to analyze and put together the concepts that they've learned in class. So for example, I've extracted this topic of light. Yeah. So here, I think, we can scroll a little bit. To move further. So in this conversation, you can see there's like a bubble speech here. They are trying to understand where they come from, what to do to prevent another accident from happening. And this is critical thinking actually, because with a source of light, you would be able to see better. And that's what they're trying to highlight in the speech, right? Okay. So you can see that the lesson objective or outcome is quite clear. Describe how light actually travels, state that light can reflect on surfaces, not light sources. So the objectives and aims and as well outcomes are quite evident, right? So we will move on to the next page where we can see the aims. So as I mentioned to you, you do not really need to depend on actually trying to have the teacher's guide on hand with you. Isn't that brilliant? So it is good because the students know what is expected during the lesson, and you can also probably reinforce it and remind them as well without having to always have a sneak peek at your teacher's guide as well. So in case if you've done your lesson plan, but oh my god, I've left it, in case if you do those lesson plans that are only on paper, then this really comes in handy. And then here, these are some of the activities that we will be doing today actually. So I'm just going to go through. So they actually explain to you what materials you need, what are the instructions, and let's move on. We'll go into detail later. So for today, instead of using a campus that have access to phones, we're going to make do with a phone instead. And you can see what happens when they shine the torch through the hole, and what happens next. So the steps are clearly explained, and it's really easy for both teachers and students to work together and actually, probably come to an inference hypothesis or the conclusion per se. So we also have questions here where we can actually, when the holes are aligned, meaning they're all in a straight line, can light pass through the holes? So we have explained that light moves in a certain direction, but now we're actually trying to evaluate if they comprehend the concept, right? We presented the facts, but now we're evaluating. Instead of asking, do you understand the lesson? Which most times, even if they don't understand, they're going to tell you, yes, because they want to look smart, they want to look cool. Talking about the QR code, right? So what happens is you can scan the QR code immediately and they can be presented in 3 different ways, which, Ms. Petrie, we can move on to the next page on how we can use this. So here we have it. You have 3 or 4 different methods that you can access it. And most importantly, you can also use the QR code here itself. Scroll down. This is option 1. So option 2 is the website. And option 3 is basically the YouTube. So I'm not going to take your time to actually, make you watch that. You could probably explore it at home. Okay? I think it would be better. I wouldn't want to take your time on that. Okay, so let's move on to the next page. So let's look at the next page. So here we're still in the lesson presentation, but probably okay. So here I've actually put some different topics so you can see how things are done differently. Some with QR codes, some with hands-on activities. Some are done, with a different approach. Probably you can also adapt a one-on-one or probably use it as in. Sometimes, if you think your students have previous knowledge, you can even use it as a starter, like a introduction activity or a warm-up instead of waiting till the middle or the end. So it's not to say that all of these activities must always be done at the middle or the end. If you think your students have prior content knowledge, which we say, then you could probably start this. If you've learned this in the previous level and you think that their level is quite impressive, then you can just kickstart it right away. So there's no need to go through the whole lesson walkthrough and bore them. So the method is the same here, and it's just a different concept, which no worries. I'll probably just go through it and then we will discuss about it later. So usually the earthquake happens because of when the tectonic plates collide, right? So it creates a vibration and also it creates those frictions, and that's when buildings actually would be shattered apart. Okay, that's not very pleasant there. Don't worry about it. I think it's good that you did not answer because we're on the 22nd floor right now. Okay, so we have the QR code as well. Same concept, and we will walk really quick on this. We'll walk through very quickly. Yes. So we just talked about tectonic plates. Now we're talking about the effect about earthquakes. So here, the aim is to actually model the effects of an earthquake. So in this upcoming activity that Ms. Petrie is going to move forward, you are going to try one of these activities. So what I have done is, instead of technically quite messy in this setting, I've improvised with another ingredient. So you're going to try that, but it's not in that exact fashion. So the whole idea is to tell you that it is not to say that I need all 5 or 10 ingredients that appears here. No. You can modify it, you can simplify it, you can add, you can actually change a thing or two, as long as the concept is there. So if you don't have sand, you can use flour, whatever that is available. It's not to say that because it says sand, so I should use sand. No. This is where critical thinking takes place, because you can use other alternatives that may replicate the effect of sand, right? Okay, because even here, they are actually replicating that scenario, or that you can even make a video on what you're expected to do for the day. That's also one way to gain their interest, probably get them to feel more interested. So these are methods we can use, or we can even try the PowerPoint, which I did do the PowerPoint as well. This is the PowerPoint concept. So yeah, here we go. So Ms. Petrie will have to click it. So yeah, the PowerPoint will look something like this. Okay, 1 second. Touch, hearing, and vision is involved when you are doing hands-on activities, I'm sure. Okay, and that's how you actually stimulate the brain. It's good for brain development at any age, even at this age or whatever age. Even doctors or even mechanics, why do they have practical? because it helps you retain long-term memory. Yeah? When you are doing it, it becomes practical because not only are you touching, you're visualizing, you're also remembering the order of how the process takes place, right? So that's why it's really important. Experiments are really important. And here, learning through experiments, I've also put, these are all not mine, but these are research sites, okay? They improve your observation skills because when you're doing experiments, you're observing for changes and you're also, enhance academic success. I would say this because let's say if I were to do a Cabiga dissection, I would remember the anatomical markings and structures. Or if I were to do a chemistry, it's just good for the teacher not to only stand in front, try to move around. It's really good because when you move, you're standing in front. It's kind of funny because no one actually looks at their groin and laugh. So you come to think of it, it's really a little bit. So here, it's always the learners come to the classroom, okay, based on the schedule given. They're all very obedient. Yes, teacher, no teacher, whatever, okay? And then this is before class. And now, during the class, the teacher actually delivers the lecture to the classroom and provides the study material with the concept as well as the content, the information. After class, homework time. Whether you understand or you don't understand, everyone hands in the homework tomorrow on my table, sharp 7 a.m. It's right? We're all teachers. I've been one of them as well before. So, guilty. Okay, learners are assigned activities and tasks to consolidate learning concepts and content of knowledge. Yes, I assign the homework, you go home to do it. You only have one task to do, I have 40 to mark. Yeah? Okay, let's move on. Okay, now, teachers tell you it is not wrong to use this method. Do you know why? How can we expect students to use the flip method if they don't have the content knowledge or if they've never learned that topic? It's not possible. It's rocket science for them. How can you ask them to present if you've never actually taught them that topic? Right? It's not going to happen. But here's the question. How do you make sure that it's not talk and chalk? So you can use the traditional methods, but be a little innovative. Use slides, use presentations, get them into groups to probably compete with one another. So it's not teacher right, student copy. Okay? Teacher talk time is high, student talk time is low. So this is something that we must avoid. Of course, the traditional way has to work. That's why it's called contemporary fashion, right? You have the old and the new. It's just good for the teacher not to only stand in front, try to move around. It's really good because when you move, you're standing in front. It's kind of funny because no one actually looks at their groin and laugh. So you come to think of it, it's really yes. Okay. During class, they are discussing with their peers and their teachers about the topic they want to present. And after class, what they do is actually the learners check and confirm their understanding by doing further learning activities. And if you want to assign them homework or tasks or further enhancement activities, it's totally fine. Okay, it's just like to get them to present what they know because it's a really good way. If you ask them, do you understand? And if I am a student, because I am a student, I say yes. The question is, when you meet the parents for a PTC and tell them after half a year we discovered that John, Amy, and whoever does not seem to understand because, when I ask them questions, they used to say yes. But it turns out to be, and if I were a parent, I would say why would you even rely on the answer of a kid? Do you not have your own tools to assess the student? Why do you wait until the mid-year to tell me that?
You are as well. First of all, thank you very much to Peter from DTP for inviting us to be part of the event. We really appreciate it. Thank you to Dr. Chamlan and Tanya for presenting and essentially helping elevate STEM here in Cambodia. Okay, quick introductions. My name is David. I'm the Managing Director of MyTab. How many of you have heard of MyTab? 1. Okay, 2. That's perfect. That means there's a lot of new people that we can introduce ourselves to. MyTab essentially is an education technology provider, which is very relevant for things like flipped learning, blended learning, etc. At the Second area is on STEAM and on STEM. So we are enablers. We are enablers for teachers like yourself. Today you've heard Tanya talk about things like engaging your students by having a hands-on approach, by allowing them to experiment, by doing lots of practical work versus just the traditional rote method, which is you guys, like what's happening right now? You're sitting, I'm talking. It shouldn't be that way, okay? So we are enablers in that we allow, we provide tools that allow you as teachers to conduct some of these experiments. Next. So just a little bit more background. So we've been around since 2012. We are not a new company. We are based here in Phnom Penh. So our core strengths are that we have a local team. I know that many times you're looking for experiments. You might look for AliExpress, you might look for Taobao, you might buy from Amazon. One of the key problems there is that if something breaks down, what happens? You don't get any kind of service and support. So this is what we do, all right? And I think because of that, because we are able to provide a very high level of support, we've received a lot of encouragement from schools, and as of today, we currently serve more than 100 different schools here in Cambodia. Next, thank you. So some of our clients are up on top. I think if you look at the top row, essentially these are essentially the best of the best schools. So we do a lot of work, not only with the very high-end international schools, but we also work with a majority of private schools. We do a lot of work with NGOs. We do support a lot of initiatives, private and public initiatives as well, including like USAID and so forth, where we provide tools for. So just give you a quick background, what it is that we do, especially that's related to science. So we provide lots and lots and lots of science materials here in Cambodia. I have a question. Since most of you are teachers, how many of you are actually involved in science? A show of hands? Oh well, okay. This side of it is all science. So what about this side? What do you guys do? Arts? No? Okay, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. So if you've got science, okay, next question I've got. I assume most of you are teachers. I assume, okay? Okay. How many of your schools have a science lab? Not too many, actually. Okay. So the other question: Do you guys think having a source of real-world STEM labs, some of which we are involved in, some we're not, but essentially these are different platforms that you can use to serve your students. You'll notice these are a little bit different from your standard science lab. A science lab tends to be very dry. You've got materials for chemistry, physics, and so forth. These are more colorful, more exciting, more engaging. And it does not involve purely just those experiments, right? It's very project-based learning. It's very hands-on approach. So this is an area that we are very passionate about. This is something that we want to do for your schools, all right? So I'll give you an example. Can I, thank you. Yeah. So this is an example of a STEM lab that we have designed for a school. And it's broken down by different stations. And if this is something that you'd like, you can come and speak to my team as well. You could have a station for 3D printing, where your students can actually build up their own prototypes. You could have a station for them to do Minecraft, where they can do Minecraft design. You could have a station for robotics. And robotics, you can. I've taught children as young as 4 to about coding. So you cannot imagine 4 years old, they're still learning their ABC. How in the world am I going to teach them coding? We can. Not only can we do that, I am going to give you free, okay, a platform where you can access today, and you can teach those children that same coding and robotics. It's a Scratch-based platform. All right, I'll give you the link later on. You can access it. You do not need to register. You don't need to pay a single cent. But if you want to expand on that, come and see us. We'll give you more options. All right. So what's our next one?
You do not need to rely on the information from the net, but you can prove it directly hands-on, right? Great. How about this team? What did you discover?
That you fall asleep a lot before you use the book.
Exactly. Right. Right or wrong?
When the pages are unaligned, you can't see the lines correctly.
Okay, so teachers, are we all settled and done? I mean, like, what could you conclude? I mean, can the teacher with the right answer, there's only one teacher that can give me the right answer, will have a little gift from DTP. So what do you think the answer is? Like,